He is a legendary dolphin activist who's known for the documentary The Cove that won the Academy Award, as well as every other award a documentary could possibly win. It's all about the dolphin trafficking and the dolphin slaughter that goes on in Taiji, Japan. He went down there to expose the secret slaughter that goes on every year and the billions of dollars that's made from it. We also get into his friend John Lilly and his NASA-funded research on non-human intelligence involving dolphins back in the day when he was working on Flipper, and all kinds of other crazy stuff. This episode's packed with gems, and I know you guys are gonna love it. So please hammer that subscribe button below the video if you haven't already, and enjoy the show. Mwah! All right, Rick. Thank you so much for coming, man. It's an honor to have you on here. I've been trying to get you on the show for years.
Oh, I didn't know that. I would have showed up earlier.
I didn't know you were in St. Pete. Last time I heard, you were in in Indonesia, then you were in Denmark, and then you were in Tahiti. Who knows? You're trotting. You're still trotting the world, and
I am.
You're in your early 80s. Is that right?
84. Yeah.
84.
Yeah.
That's incredible that you're still moving around like that.
Yeah. When I came here a year ago, I didn't expect to. I was hoping to stay on the beach for a little while, but I've been in Portugal and Japan, Denmark, Norway, Sweden, chasing a whale up the coast, beluga whale. I haven't been here very much, actually. But you got a nice place here.
Thanks. I appreciate it.
I haven't seen much of it yet.
Well, there's not much to see except for this room and the room we were just in. But you said you were chasing a beluga whale?
A beluga whale by the name of Valdemir, escaped from the Russian Navy. It's believed, nobody knows for sure, but there are a lot of there are several people who work in that in Russia with the Russian dolphins and have worked with these beluga whales, who confirmed that he was a Russian spy whale. So we don't have any data like a birth certificate, and it's important because dolphins that are born in captivity are very different from dolphins that are born in the wild. They're a completely different animal. Many of these dolphins right here, in fact, Clearwater probably, and SeaWorld and these places around here, all over Europe and places, especially northern Europe, where the climate is cold, they suffer from the cold weather, I believe, because all of the dolphins, every one of them in Europe, for example, originally were captured in Florida, near Pine Island, Florida, or Cuba. So they are indeed subtropical creatures. Nobody ever thinks about that. I think about it when I'm standing outside the Hagenbeck Zoo in Hamburg, Germany, with snow up to my knees, and it's wind's blowing and it's freezing cold, and I'm out there protesting, and nobody thinks when they buy a ticket they're going to go inside this building. They're going to see dolphins that were captured in Florida that shouldn't be here in the first place. So we try to expose all of these things, hoping that people will think twice before they buy a ticket for a dolphin show. That's what we do.
So going back to the Russian spy whale.
Yeah, Vladimir. I'll go back there. I'm just waiting right now for the ice to melt, because the ice on the roads, we have a home in Denmark, and we'll put my wife Helena and I will put the car, what we do is put the car on the ferry boat, and we go to Sweden, drive off, and then we have people on the ground who know where Valdemir is, and we're in touch with them, and we'll drive there. We'll follow him all the way up the coast from Sweden to Norway last time we were there. But now it's really frozen and dangerous to drive, for me especially, because it's ice and snow, and I'm not used to it.
So do you think they have him retrofitted with some sort of radio transmitters or some cameras and stuff?
Yeah, he showed up with cameras, GoPros. He's wearing a harness.
What?
Canvas harness.
Is there photos of this?
Yeah. You can Google it in Valdemir. And
Valdemir the spy
so
whale?
this is not live, is it?
No, it's not live.
Okay,
no,
because
we
you can insert voiceover. I'll tell you where that footage is.
Well, Steve,
I'll send you some actually.
Steve actually, he's on the computer. He can actually Google stuff like as we're talking, and he can pull it up and show it to us.
So it's HVALDIMIR, Valdemir. He was featured in the New York Times cover of the New York Times magazine about 2 weeks ago. It's a big 4 or 5 page story. Photograph.
Good images. This guy.
There's the harness there.
Wow.
Oh, no way. Oh.
Yeah, he's very underweight here. You can't tell, but I can. Right, the one on the lower left, he's really, he's in bad shape there.
Wow.
That's when he left the Arctic Circle and started traveling towards Sweden and Denmark. That's when I left here and got on the first plane and tried to interrupt him, turn him around, because he will not find another beluga whale once he leaves the Arctic Circle and starts heading in that direction. He's going in the wrong direction.
Mm-hmm. That's so sad, man.
Yeah, and he is the friendliest of all the dolphins I've worked with, and I've worked with a lot of dolphins and whales in the last, before Flipper, 60-something years. He is by far the friendliest, and he just goes right up to people. Like if he could hug them, he would. And my fear is he's going to be transferred to an area in the north of Norway, where there are about 300 hungry polar bears, and so that's
polar bears will get them.
I don't know. I mean, nobody knows. You would never be able to monitor him there. But this whale swam into the largest whaling nation on planet Earth. Right?
Right.
So the government, what we've been trying to do, the Dolphin Project at least, we've been trying to get the government to step up and take responsibility, to actually make him a citizen, and let him and assign a cadre of 5 or 6, could be Coast Guard or Forest Rangers or somebody, to be there with him. There are some civilians you see in that photograph. They're doing that, but the government should do that. The government just wants to get rid of him. He's an embarrassment.
Really?
Yeah, if they protect him, well, how about the other whales you're killing? You're killing more whales than anybody on the planet.
Russia?
No, this is Norway.
Oh, Norway. Okay.
Russia did. They stopped. But now it's Norway, Iceland, Japan.
So Norway's killing more whales than Japan?
Yeah.
Wow. Since when?
Yeah. The last year or two.
That's crazy. Norway is
they've now become the largest. The numbers, how many whales they kill, that's based on how many they kill. So he swam into, and I'd like for him to stay right there and bring as much media attention as he can to the fact that Norway is killing whales unnecessarily. They don't have to do this. So there are fish farms. That's what these guys here you're looking at on this photograph work at the fish farm. These are salmon farms. Norway is a very, very rich country, and they make their money on oil and salmon. Almost all salmon you eat now worldwide is from Norway.
Interesting.
And don't eat it. It was exposed on Seaspiracy. There's a movie on Netflix everybody should see. If you are still eating salmon, go to Netflix and look at Seaspiracy.
Why? What's wrong with the salmon?
It's disgusting. It's just, I don't want to. People are eating when they're watching this show. And
it's okay. It doesn't matter. We can make them throw up.
It's disgusting. They only are what they shovel in there to them. And
so, like, you mean like they're raised on farms, right? They're farm salmon.
Yeah, they're fed in these very large circular sea pens that are used. They call that the farm. And Yeah, it's disgusting. It's dangerous. Don't eat it.
Where do you
If
get?
you have to eat salmon, look for salmon from. Sometimes you can find it at Whole Foods. It's from Alaska. Wild, caught from Alaska, doesn't have mercury and all the problems that you find in
Alaskan
all
salmon.
the other salmon. Even the color of this beautiful salmon color when you go to the sushi place, that's fake. If you saw the color of it, you wouldn't even buy it in the first place. It's gray. It's actually gray. It's that color. It's that color.
Really?
Yeah, because of what they feed it. They feed it garbage.
Wow.
And so people you dress it up in the sushi market, and it looks wonderful, but it's all fake. So
for people that don't know, you have one of the most famous and legendary documentaries that have come out in the last couple decades is The Cove, which won an Academy Award, won an ungodly amount of awards.
Won all of them.
Won every single award. Yeah. One of the most, famous wildlife documentaries that has ever been known. When they were making that documentary, is it something you were a part of from the start, or did these guys just sort of discover you and decide to make a documentary about you?
Well, there is no these guys. It's like everything else, like this podcast. This is your baby. So there is somebody there who, and that would be Louis Sahoyas. That was his project. And how it started, it was a phone call from San Diego. I was in Coconut Grove. He calls and introduced himself and said, I just saw I didn't make The Cove, by the way. I'm not a filmmaker, but I did make a short film video with Diane Thader, who is what would you call her? She's an artist, a video artist. And she
Cinematographer?
Video artist.
Okay. That works.
I don't know. It's different than what you do in documentaries.
Okay.
They show, I don't, but she did a proper doc. And it's not something you would put on television because it's so graphic. It's really meant for a journalist. If a journalist calls me and says, what's this all about? I can show them. I can't explain it. It's so over the top what happens at the Cove in Taiji. If I had to explain it to you, I wouldn't be able to. Well, you've seen it, so you know.
Yeah, right.
But if I show you something, you might get interested and get involved. So,
there's no words that
so
can
we
do it
made
justice.
this one, and Louis Sahoyas was in San Diego at a marine mammal conference. I was scheduled as the keynote speaker, and I was going to show my 15-minute film. At the last minute, SeaWorld said, we're scrapping that. O Barry can't speak. And that piqued Louis' curiosity. Why can't he speak? Because he's speaking about dolphins in captivity. Dolphins being captured at the Cove in Taiji. The capture of the dolphins and the sale of those dolphins is indeed the economic underpinning of the slaughter. It's not about meat. It's about live dolphins for dolphin shows. So Louis said, so he said, "Can I saw that video you made, although SeaWorld wouldn't show it. Somebody showed it to me, and I'm wondering if I could follow you around with my camera." I said, "Well, what is it you're doing?" He said, "We're doing a..."
Oh, that's your phone.
Is that mine?
Yeah,
I should have shut that off.
That's okay. You can answer it if you have to. That's a good question.
It's Lincoln real quick.
Yeah, no worries.
Hello? Yeah. I should.
The city of Miami just terminated the aquarium lease, and they have told the April 22nd to vacate the premises.
Can you repeat that, please? I'm doing the interview right now, and Danny's here in front of me, and he and the photographer can hear.
What's up, Lincoln?
Repeat.
He said the city of Miami-Dade just terminated
Are you rolling?
the aquarium's lease.
Well, that's wonderful.
Wow. That's amazing.
Yeah. I'm going to hold you the phone up to the microphone. Repeat that one more time, please.
The Miami-Dade County and the mayor's office just issued a letter of termination for the lease for the Miami Seaquarium for the Dolphin Company. And the Dolphin Company has until April 21st to vacate the premises.
No fucking
What
way.
a beautiful thing. I've been trying to do that since 1970.
Really?
Yeah. Today, it happened on your show, live. Okay, Lincoln, thanks. I got to get back to work.
Thanks, Lincoln.
Look at that. Phew.
What are the chances that you just got the news right now? That's amazing. You guys have been trying to do that since the 70s?
Since 1970, when Hugo and the Lolita arrived at the Miami Seaquarium, I quit. I went out in front of the Seaquarium. I was the head trainer.
Get a little bit closer.
I lived there at the Seaquarium in the house that was the flipper set.
Right.
And and when the orcas arrived and I left the Miami Seaquarium, now I'm standing outside the gate. Not allowed inside. Even though I had the keys to the place in my pocket still, because I lived there, right? And I started protesting. And I'm standing out in front of the Seaquarium with the sign, I don't know what it said, cars going by, honk if you're, and nobody would honk, of course. People were going like this, and people were laughing at me. Even people in the animal welfare industry, these big groups, I was trying to get them come and join us. They would laugh at me.
Really?
What are you talking about? Dolphin captivity? That's not an issue. That's not a real issue. And they would laugh at it. Today, it's a mainstream issue. And all those big groups who would not get involved now have sort of taken over this issue and are.
So going back real quick, I want to get to the I want to jump back to the early days of Flipper and everything after we get finished what we're talking about with the when you first went to San Diego to do the conference and SeaWorld banned you from the conference.
I didn't go to the conference. I wasn't allowed. They were showing the film and Louis was there. I know I'm not going to be allowed to get into SeaWorld too.
And why was
every gate? If you talk to any SeaWorld trainer, I talked to one yesterday. When you go to buy a ticket, all of those ticket booths have my photograph there. And if I show up, they have instructions to call the police. That's not only the SeaWorld, that's Seaquarium, Marineland, all these places. So I wasn't there, but the film was going to be shown finally, and but it didn't. So Louis said, "Can I go with you and I'll film it?" I said, "Well, what is it you're doing?" "We're doing a television series like the old Jacques Cousteau series. You remember that?"
Yep.
He's asking me that, and I said, "Sure, I remember." Everybody. "Well, we want to feature you in the first episode." I said, "Well, I'm here. Bring the cameras."
You were here, meaning Taiji?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm going the next day. I said, "I'll be there tomorrow. I'm going right now."
And how often did you go there leading up to this?
5 or 6 times a year.
When did you start going there?
2003, I believe.
Okay.
And so Louis, he said, "Can I photograph you?" I said, "Sure." He hung up the telephone and went out and took a 3-day crash course on how to make a movie. He never made a movie in his life. So he's telling this story. We're in Paris, he and I and Luc Besson, the French filmmaker. He was the distributor for the Cove. And so the three of us are sitting at this press conference, and Louis is telling this story. He said, so I told Rick, I'll meet him in Taiji, and I hung up the phone and went out and took a 3-day course on how to make a movie. Here's a guy who never made a movie before. His first movie wins Academy Award and every award that, and
Jesus
so
Christ.
I like telling filmmakers. I told my son this story, and I was just in Portugal recently at a film school telling all of the students, trying to encourage them to go out and do what Louis did. Anybody can do it, and everybody should do it. So Lincoln did that, and he went out and made a 3-part television series for Discovery Channel.
Blood Dolphin.
Blood Dolphins. Now he's doing a feature film for Dog Wolf, I think it's called.
Dog Wolf?
Dog Wolf. They do documentaries.
Okay. Oh, it's a company. Okay, got it.
Yeah, in London. They did the documentary that won the Academy Award this year. It's called Navalny.
Navalny. Okay.
Yeah. That's their film.
Right.
It's a profile piece. Now they're doing another profile piece on what we're doing, so that's exciting.
That's amazing.
Yeah. Lincoln could win an Academy Award.
So you guys met up.
This is not in the shot, is it?
No. And you said, I'm going to Taiji the next day. They said, we'll meet you there.
And so he shows up, got one little camera, he's by himself, and we were in a restaurant. I took him to a restaurant that night, Japanese restaurant, and he leans across the table and he says, so what's this movie about? I thought, God, this is so encouraging. Because I have been doing interviews literally since before Flipper, hundreds of them. And I wrote a couple of books, and my writing partner, it was a journalist for so many years, 30 years. And he told me one time, he said, journalists aren't looking for the truth. They're looking for a story. That stuck with me because that's what I experienced all of these years. I put that together. They're looking for a story.
Right.
And usually they know what that story is before they even interview me. And here's a guy, once in a while you'll get a investigative journalist who has a blank mind, and they're going to document what it is.
Yes.
So that's why I was excited.
Right.
You haven't already made up your mind what this is. Just follow me around. You'll see.
Right.
It is what it is.
Right.
And that's how the Cove was made.
What was the response from the people in, because I mean, watching that documentary, it is quite literally astonishing how many people are aware of you, who are tailing you every day, getting in your face, trying to intimidate you. Like, it's a very, very high level operation those fishermen have going there, and you are the bane of their existence. I can't imagine the reaction you got after this documentary not only dropped, but won an Academy Award. What was the reaction from those guys and from the not just Taiji, but Japan?
Anger. They don't want to be exposed like that. And they know that it's all true. So they have to do damage control now and pretend that we're making all this stuff up. And anger is what just made them angrier. That's all that happened.
How long after the film came out and won the Academy Award did you go back to Taiji, or did you go back?
I was there almost all the time.
Oh, wow.
It goes on 6 months a year. When it starts, it doesn't stop for 6 months every day.
Right,
so
from September to March?
Yeah, I'm constantly going back and forth. And I was doing a lot of hiding in those days because they're angry fishermen. And they're not the real threat, though. The real threat is the Yakuza wannabe, the young guy who wants to be. The Yakuza is very involved in fisheries in Japan and these live dolphin sales, and anywhere there's money, the Yakuza is in that neighborhood.
For people listening who don't know, can you explain what the Yakuza is?
The Yakuza is the Japanese mafia. They're everywhere. They're ubiquitous in Japan. They are in government. They run the government. They're everywhere. And so the guy I'm afraid of is the young guy who's had too much to drink, makes a bad decision, and something happens. And that happens in Japan. You know, not so much with guns, with knives. You know, guns are outlawed, but you have to constantly look over your shoulder.
Guns are outlawed there?
I think they're outlawed, banned. You know, you don't find guns like you do here.
Right.
That's a good thing too, because they get very angry when you expose them like that. It's something you just don't do in Japan. Yeah, Japanese people would never do that to one another. Their culture is very, very different.
Mm-hmm.
And you don't take sides with Westerners. So it's a very, very difficult campaign, and we've been on it since 2003, and we're still on it, and we're not having any results. So we've tried something new: sue the bastards. We've had very good success with suing them. I've been arrested twice on false charges and deported, went to prison. I took them to court and sued them.
Who specifically?
The government.
Oh, the Japanese government.
Yeah. And I won. That's never happened before. When I was in Japan in September, Lincoln and I were there filming. We went to the lawyer's office, this law firm, and he said, congratulations, this is the first case ever in Japanese history where somebody was deported, sued the government, went all the way to the Supreme Court and won. So I'm back whenever I want to go back. That makes them just angrier. So our strategy now is to sue them. Sea Shepherd was there also, another environmental group.
Right.
A couple of other guys got arrested. They also sued using the same law firm, Japanese law firm. They won. So we have a good track record with this law firm. And the Supreme Court, the higher courts, are much more fair than the lower courts. So we're going to keep the lawsuit going, and yeah, that's our new strategy.
Have you ever sat down with one of these fishermen and had just a direct face-to-face conversation?
I've had many. I've gone into
like a cordial conversation?
Yeah. And recorded it. I would sometimes record them with a button cam or something like that. And yeah, we've done that. And now what about that? What is it you want to know about that?
What came out of that? What was your sense?
Which one? There's 100. I've been there.
Any of them?
I've been there since 2000.
All of them together.
The thing I've taken away from it is that they admitted they will stop if it's illegal. As long as it's legal, we're going to do this. You kill cows, we kill these. You know, beef. Looks the same. Put it on a table, cut it up, you can't even tell the difference. So, of course, they're right about that. And it's the way they kill them, the way they're doing this, and other improprieties, illegalities are being recorded. So we live stream, when we're there, we're live streaming everything. Mm-hmm. We have drones, very small drones, and we're looking for illegalities. And we funnel all of that to the law firm. And our next assault will be a legal one in the courts.
Regarding the ethics of what it is, and compare, like in the documentary, they're always coming up with different arguments to back up what they're doing, slaughtering these dolphins. And one of them was it's pest control because they're eating too much fish. Another one was, you know, like what you said earlier, you guys slaughter cows, or there's a guy in people in Australia, they slaughter kangaroos. So why can't we slaughter our own dolphins? And
yeah, they're right too. Excuse me for a minute.
Is there any sort of legal loophole there that you can get around, or that you can sort of lobby for to?
Not ethics, no. Ethics, no, it has to be something.
There's nothing based on like the intelligence of an animal, whether you can kill or not.
Well, you can go to court and fight that for years, and two sides are debating what intelligence is. What is intelligence?
Right.
No, you will never shut it down based on intelligence. They will argue about that. And intelligence, some anthropologists might tell you, is the ability to adapt to your environment and survive. That would make a cockroach more intelligent than us. They could survive a nuclear holocaust. So that ain't it. Well, what is it? And so you go down that road. Now, it's got to be something breaking the laws of Japan, very black and white. Mm-hmm. And we have a lot of evidence of that, and we're building more. I can't tell you publicly what that is because it's tipping off who are going to watch your broadcast. They monitor me all the time, as does the captivity industry, who should be fighting this battle, not me. That's their industry that they are not policing.
Right.
Or the animal welfare industry, since the captivity industry is not going to do it. That's a multi-billion-dollar industry that could end that dolphin slaughter anytime they want to.
Now, in 2009, I think you said that the industry was responsible for like $2 billion in revenue a year for captive dolphins.
That industry, SeaWorld alone makes $1.5 billion a year.
Still, to this day.
That's just one company. You're not talking about the industry, the Alliance of Marine Parks and Aquariums. It's
all over the world.
It's massive. Yeah, they can end it whenever they want to. They don't want to. They don't want to get involved. They only get involved in things that make money, not negative cash flow, positive cash flow.
But these guys, people like these groups in Taiji, Japan, who are rounding up the dolphin and capturing them and selling them for $100,000 a pop, haven't there been offers that you guys have made to basically subsidize what they're making? Like, hey, we'll figure out a way to reimburse you for all the money you're losing for selling these dolphins. And that would be a fair compromise. And they basically said no.
We've had meetings with the mayor, the city council, the police, the Coast Guard, all of them on a table like this, a huge table in the city hall. My wife, Helena, and I. Long before the film The Cove was made and anybody cared about this issue, we were in there asking them if they would agree to take a year off. We'll pay. They had 13 boats that were hunting dolphins. We will pay. I didn't have any money. I couldn't even pay for lunch. But I'm bluffing. Sometimes it works. I'll find the money later. So we told them we'll subsidize the boats. You guys stay up for 1 year and don't hunt any dolphins. Continue doing whatever else you do, but leave the dolphins alone. We'll give you the same amount of money. And that was translated around the room. And then it comes around again. The answer was, it's not about money. It's about pest control. In other words, the dolphins are eating too much fish.
Right.
And so let's kill all the dolphins.
Yeah.
That was the answer. Whether it's true or not, I don't know. It's just one person at that table's 2 cents they're putting in. But they didn't go for the subsidized thing, no.
Yeah, it seems like that's just it's an excuse for something else, whether it be like that the fishing has been their lives for so long. It's a lifestyle for them. It's a culture for them. Maybe
no, it's not.
Maybe it gives them meaning.
No, it's not cultural. That's one of they say that over and over again, and in some warped way, it's become the truth. The truth is, it's never ever been their culture. Commercial factory whaling has never been their culture. You can see the boats. They still have these antique canoes where the whole tribe would go out and they would hunt one whale and bring it into Taiji, and they would live off that whale for a long time. They never hunted dolphins for dolphin shows. All of that is a lie. Yeah, so they make up. But you have to understand, when I say they, I'm talking about a very small minority of men in a very remote village in Taiji. There's 100, audience pay attention, there's 127 million people in Japan who don't harm dolphins.
Right. And they don't even know about this stuff.
No, not really. It's a small island, actually, relative to California. It's the same, about the same size, actually.
As California.
But it's got 127 million people all crammed together living there. And they do it pretty well, actually. But those people don't really eat whale meat anymore. The younger people kind of laugh at it. It's the much older people my age. I'm 84. They would continue eating whale meat because that's what they grew up on during the Second World War. After the war, all of the cattle had been bombed. There wasn't any protein that they were eating. It was General MacArthur who told them, go out and kill whales.
Really?
We, the Americans, gave them the ships they still have to go out and hunt whales because we bombed all the cattle and they were starving. And so they did. There's no need to do that today. There's plenty of, you go into the supermarket in Taiji, Katsura, and these places, plenty of food. They're doing it to sell to dolphin shows, not even about meat. That's the big lie.
Right.
If they had to depend only on the meat, they would have gone out of business.
The meat's just a distraction.
20 years ago or something like that.
Are they still funneling all that meat into the school system?
No, that ended.
That ended.
By exposing it, sometimes exposing it is, the way to go. So we keep doing that. We keep doing that and try to keep from getting arrested.